Greetings, welcome to day 5. We are back with our Fortnite Pump SG. Some new plans, some new concepts, and some tests that we're going to be carrying out today. Thought I'd talk a little bit about a few of the projects I've been working on, what led me to the Fortnite Pump SG versus doing some other things, why I'm on each different project. Ultimately, I'm on each different project for this. That is a demolisher rocket minus the head. I don't think I have the headed rocket around here. These things suck. Mostly because of their shape, from what I can tell. They don't have the mass required to continue flight, which makes them fail, and fail pretty hard. So yes, I do have a Fortnite GL. I know it wasn't that great to begin with, but I had no idea how bad it truly sucked until I got hold of it. And then I originally misthought that it was solely the fault of the rockets. This is not the case at all. If you go and check out Captain Xavier's channel, hopefully by now I will figure out how to get the links to work. In fact, you know what? I'll make sure the link works. I'll do something. I will get that link to work. He does a actual test of these rockets, proving that yes, the rockets do in fact suck, but so does the hand pump for the grenade launcher, which is just, why? That would have been like their best seller ever. So Hasbro, you are bastards so many ways over, I cannot even begin to name it. So originally, a couple of concepts that came up to change that up. This, for those of you thinking pool noodle, you are wrong. This is actually called backer rod. It is much the same as pool noodle, and pretty much is pool noodle, except this is technically backer rod. Also, another way to make things a little more aerodynamic. Oh yes, the ye old Nerf spiral footballs. You can get them on sale from China, because China still makes them. I would love to go further, but I don't have the necessary ammo prop in front of me, so 2 seconds and I'll be right back. All right, here we are. So this is the missing rocket head, and this is the backer rod that I attached it to, hoping that it would work in place of this foam. But this backer rod is not even sure what the word is for it, less dense than this foam here, even though it comes down to this little conical shape, ultimately revealing failure. So that still doesn't work. That's actually one of the reasons I reached out to Brick in the Yard in order to get more dense foam and to work on better darts. Ultimately, my goal is to create a much larger dart for a different blaster, not today. Let's talk about something else. We're going to talk about the Nerf Zombie Nail Biter, an underappreciated blaster in my opinion, being that it is semi-automatic, can be fired and used solely one-handed. Whether or not it's any good at that is a different story entirely. The videos for upgrading and modifying this blaster are questionable. One person, I believe Wallcom, actually saw no difference. Zero performance, or I should say zero positive performance difference in the blaster by going to a K26. Instead, he just had a very, as he put it, a beast of a prime or a trigger. Captain Xavier, I believe, him or Dr. Flux, One of the two. Still haven't figured out which one was which. I haven't bothered to go back and look. They said that they had an increase in FPS, which is strange because Qualcomm would have been doing the same thing they were doing. It's just, again, it's a questionable thing. What happened there? And of course, there's the problem with the fact that it is a bizarre magazine. Sorry, Coop. There are those who are going to tell you that this is technically still a magazine because it delivers the round into the firing chamber. And mine comes out. Okay, before I knew I could do this, before I had this phone, in fact, this phone's a relatively new purchase, I did in fact mod the blaster. You can mod the blaster. This is what got me into modding. I can show you a little bit of it. Unfortunately, I can't take it back apart because the screws are going bad. But if you look in there, you can see where there's a little bit of sanding done at the top. I can't even do that because I've got a brace with one hand. Give me a second. Oh, okay. There we go. So this has been sanded out. Again, this rail here, I sanded down. And I'm not seeing anything else. Flipping over the blaster, because this is a two-sided job here. There's the mother of the work. All along in here, down here, flattening that. This chunk right here. I can't even, unfortunately I can't get any light on it, so I can't show you anymore. Along here, flatten that out. But that's pretty much your mainstays. Again, let's see if I can see it through the phone while I'm doing it. My hand, there you go. So those general positions you should be able to sand down. Some of those are not necessary. I couldn't seem to determine where or what was locking the clip into place. So I needed to sand everything until I finally found it. You can do this with your own blaster. I highly suggest this blaster if you're planning a dual wield for any reason. This is just simply put an awesome blaster to dual wield with one problem. It tends to have issues where it likes to jam from time to time. If you can nail those down, nail, then you've got the ability to dual wield semi-auto, and it's an 8-round clip. You can actually get 10-round clips off the interwebs. The only problem is the stupid thing doesn't stand up because they wanted to add a tack rail and put everything for some dumb reason at angles, which is just piss pot poor planning entirely. Like, this could have opened up and been part of the blaster. You could have used it for dart storage. But I'm happy with this blaster. I like it. I like the way it looks. It feels right for a zombie apocalypse. And one last thing, if you haven't seen the paint job mod where the guy turned it into a Makita blaster, holy God, you need to go check that out. Onto the actual clip. The clip mod's a little different. So first let me talk about the differences between the clip mod versus the blaster mod. The clip mod means that this clip becomes universal. I can put this in anybody's blaster and it will come out. Of course, the first time to get their clip out, we have to open their blaster to remove their clip. But that's not really the purpose of practicality. This is a universal clip. It's been, I'm gonna pause for train. Okay, finally, it was about a 10-minute train. Hey, I've multiplied them using my magical powers. Look at that. Go side by side here. So you can see where this has been dremeled out, this has been dremeled out compared to right here and right here. Also at the bottom, again, dremeled out. I believe along here I did some dremeling. It may be the other side. Fairly certain I dremeled along a couple of these edges. It may have simply been within the blaster itself. Okay, so back over here, dremeled, comparison. You can see again, that's full, and that's not. Dremeled here, so right there. Dremeled right here. So it'd be over on this end. But all of that, in fact, let's just, right there, look at that. Look at all the plastic I took out to make that go. So this is now a universal clip and can fit in any nail biter. This is a standard stock clip. So brief demonstration. I'm going to try to do this one-handed, which is the epitome of stupidity. But that's what you get when you don't have an expensive setup. Just using the cell phone. There we go. As you can see, feeds in without an issue. And then it comes to the stop. Now again, it is designed to stop, all of them are designed to stop feeding here and stop moving, because this is part of what makes it move, and it stops. But in this instance, you can just, again, pull out, making it a universal build. So this is the universal. When I can, I will open this thing again when I find some replacement screws for the strippy ones. I'll pull it out. I'll show everybody the internals more clearly. But that's what got me back into, or I shouldn't even say got me back into, that's what got me into Nerf modding, was the nail biter. Because, I mean, the clips should never have been stuck there to begin with. Pause. Which brings me to the Fortnite sniper rifle. Now the Fortnite sniper rifle, as you can see, basically stock, with the exception of that. For comparison, you can see right there, that's where the little wingdings go, little plastic garbage wingdings, which are exactly what I said, plastic garbage. First off, you can't lay your blaster down. Seems to be an ongoing theme for Nerf. They don't know how to make a flat surface. Second, I intended, and technically I'm not finished, but I intended to always make the bolt removable so it can be laid flat on either side. Remove my hand fully. There's my hand and my other hand in front of the camera. Woo! Nice and fully flat. Also, because you're going to be putting a lot of pressure on this area of the blaster, I didn't want something super weak like plastic. I wanted a piece of metal there. And the thought occurred to me that you could get screw-on knobs for gear shifts, for door locks in cars. And so I immediately ran to the store, found these parts, and threw together this brief mod. This is nothing more than epoxy, a lot of Dremel cutting, and the spring is still 100% stock. I did remove the air restrictor. I've talked about that in previous videos. Let me pull out the air restrictor real quickly. This is the clicker clacker. It makes that nice, annoying clicker clacker noise. And then there is your air restrictor. that was just a simple little drill job. For those who are interested in it, it's really nothing more than what you're actually... If I could grab something that is correct. There we go. It's nothing more than drilling. I drilled from the reverse side so that I would guarantee straight down the middle. And I took these parts out. Removing the clicker clacker for when you're cocking the gun makes the cock much less annoying after the 1,000th time. At first, it was kind of like, oh, cool, it makes a cocking noise. Then it was like, oh, it's just making noise. And then in an actual Nerf war with the nephew, it was easy to tell where the gun was. Therefore, it was easy, blaster. It was easy also, therefore, to tell which child was where, so I knew who, because one of them can't shoot worth it. And so I knew who had this blaster, so I knew where that one was, and it was not fair. It just makes things a lot less fair. Now, the only problem I have with this specific mod, I haven't fixed it yet, but when you cock it, maybe it's already pre-cocked, let's see. No, it's just jammed. It's specifically right now. It's jammed, and you got to kind of throw some serious man strength on it. There we go. Relatively silent. I have not put anything in there because I have not had any grease or anything. It is a much louder bang, so for a big boy sniper, it gives a much more satisfying hit. Let me do that animation correctly. Hit. But at the same time, this one little jamming problem is slightly annoying. And I do need to figure it out. I just haven't finished it. But fundamentally, this is right here. Once again, I would love to take it apart and show you guys the internals. I can't do that because I need to find replacement screws. Makes such a nice thump. So, what parts do you need to do this? I'm glad you asked. There you go. That's it. There's the electrical tape I used for the temporary. It came in a custom little pack here. Just wrapped it 4,000 or 5,000 times. I wrapped up and down, and then I focused in the middle. So every part of it basically has something to keep you from cutting yourself on the screw, while at the same time protecting the screw. But also, there you go. You got a nice grippable, see, no damage. Whereas if you did something like that over here, even worse if your finger slips, yeah, you're bleeding. So, let's back up, do this right. These were all found at Home Depot. There you go. And that's your biggest problem right there. Is that this piece on its own is still just too large to function. Let's go to a vertical look. Too large to function. In fact, let's just take the screw out. There we go. Too large to function on its own. It won't fit in there. I had to take the metal grinding disc and just cut through it on 3 sides, leaving one side still intact. Then epoxied. Then I had to come back and then take the grinder. Come back and take the grinder. One of these days I'll get used to looking with the camera, not my eyes. One of these days. Let's move back down. Okay. You can see that. It's probably what's, come to think of it, it's probably one of the reasons it's sticking. It's right there. But I'm positive that's not the only thing. Anyway, these are pretty cheap to get. and they work really well for a better bolt slide. The only problem is this. This is the wrong size. If you go to get any of those neat fancy doorknobs, the knobs for your bathroom, for your anything, they're all 1/4, not 1/2. So if I did this mod a second time, I would of course change this out for a 1/4 versus a 1/2. One of the coolest things I came up with was I was going to paint the blaster white and then do some different neat little sparkle things here and there. Get a picture of Disco Steve and put that on the buttstock of the blaster down here, and have a crystal ball that's like the disco balls as my screw-on bolt, which would be hilarious. It'd be the disco blaster. Unfortunately, number one, the only thing they had at Home Depot was actual glass, which I'm not putting on a Nerf blaster, especially not on a part that slams around. So if somebody does do the Disco Steve out there, please drop me a picture. I don't really care too much if you give me credit. I don't really care. Doesn't matter to me. But it is my idea, so there. Okay, let's talk about why this ended up being done. My ultimate goal was to work on a different project. Well, everything's baby steps that's leading me to the new project. Yay. My arthritis isn't killing me today. At 40, my birthday gift to myself was arthritis in my left hand. That was unfortunate. So, what happened was I had a adopt a nephew program where we adopt a nephew, and he discovered my old blasters in the garage and was like, "Oh my God, you do the Nerf." And I said, "Well, yeah, I used to do Nerf." And he went, "I have a Nerf gun. We should play together." And I went, "Yeah, I'll blast you in the face." As any good uncle should at any time. And lo and behold, my other nephew, step-nephew, I don't have any direct nephews. It's funny. I've got lots of other nephews, though. He showed up, and he was like, "Oh, you do the Nerf?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm doing a little bit of the Nerf." And he went, "That's interesting. I have thought of Nerf." So I immediately went, "Great, you're hired." And I asked him what kind of Nerf blaster he was interested in, what kind of blaster concept. Basically, if you were a character in your own movie, what kind of gun would you use? And he was like, "I like sniper rifles." So I went out, I bought him one of these, and then I went, I want one. So I went and I bought mine. And then I began the modification process. So everything in the back of my mind has always been going back towards the one ultimate goal, which is not the shotgun, but was part of the rocket project. The shotgun came next. So let's go to the shotgun. Move this to the side. And let's bring back to the fore the shotgun. Now, if you haven't figured out from my name, Shoddy Mario, Shoddy is something that first-person shooters many times are referred to as the shotgun, the Shoddy. So the reason I used the Nerf gun was that I just couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with a single-shot weapon. Original Counter-Strike, CS 1.5, I guess. Maybe 1.4. Don't remember. Long time ago. And they always killed me and took the big guns away from me anyway. The only thing I could afford that had any kind of chance was basically the luck gun, which was the M3 pump action. And sometimes I'd get a kill and sometimes I wouldn't. So I just adopted the shotgun because I couldn't seem to hit the broadside of a barn. In single player games, first person shooters, I would generally just dump ammo from a automatic weapon until whatever it was died, and I just, pan back and forth, and even move my character back and forth while shooting back and forth. So I was a mobile target, and then I just sprayed. And eventually I discovered that you can't do that with people who are actually good. The difference between a video game and, or I should say a video game's AI and an actual player AI. So, I ended up getting shotguns. Now, originally, way back in the day, I got this shotgun. And I don't mean the double-decker, I mean the side-by-side real shotgun. The double-decker's nice. I've not got anything personal against them. That's not my style. I like side-by-sides. So, Buzz B hooked me up with a shotgun that had shells. I fired it. Everybody else had Mavericks. I ended up wielding 2 shotguns, so I had 4 shots. They all had 5, but mine looked better. So there you go. Still do. So when I saw this Fortnite Pumpgun, I went, my God, I can finally go back to my old days. And don't get me wrong, I do really enjoy my sniper, but this is where my heart is. And of course, they tore my heart out because it's a complete piece of garbage, which has led to the concept of fixing it. Well, this is going to end part 2 of day 5. I'm going to go reset the table, bring over some other blasters, and continue the discussion.